Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is FionaGibson. I am Managing Director for Accenture here in the Northwest region. We as a company have been here in the region for about 22 years. And our business is around consulting, it's around strategy, it's around technology, it's around operations. So, for us, getting involved in this particular prospectus has been very exciting for us because we are fabric of the UK PLC here in the region. It's very important to us, this region. We have around 1,000 people employed here ourselves. And secondly, if you look at the world of digital and innovation and where things are moving, smart technology, remote monitoring, all of those things that are part of that high-performance computing aspect of science and technology, that absolutely is something that is very core to our business as well. So we were delighted when we were asked to take on the role of developing this prospectus, moving on from the work that David has just talked about. So what's it about? Well, Susan, I think you talked about it being a great, vibrant, exciting place to live and to work. I've lived here in this region for all of those 22 years that Accenture has been here, and I've loved every minute of it. You can get to Derbyshire and the Peak District, you can get to Cumbria, you can get great cities, great culture, as well as obviously the fantastic science and technology that we have here, many of you are in the room today. So we set out to create the prospectus to give a bit of vibe, a bit of excitement, this is really a good place to come. Not only have we got all the assets and all the knowledge, but actually it's a fun place to be, and we're trying to attract the kids that come out of university, the students who want to stay here rather than going back to their countries, or indeed bringing new investment into the location here. So that's what we were trying to do. You will be the judge of whether we achieved that or not. You've got a copy hopefully sitting with you on your desk today. As David said, in the original Exploiting the Excellence, there were the great four. So let's look at each of them very briefly. First one, advanced materials and molecular manipulation. You're right, David, that is quite hard to say. What do we mean? Well, we've got the discovery of graphene here in 2004. What have we done with that? Well, we've now got two major investments here, specifically in Manchester, around, making that commercial, moving that into the new world, but continuing to develop it. And we've also got the Materials Innovation Factory in Liverpool, which I think Robert is going to talk about after me. The second area, cancer research and health innovation. I think there will be nobody in this room who hasn't been touched by cancer in some form. And obviously we have the amazing Christie Hospital here in the region, and also we have the Alderley Park Bioscience Centre, who continue to develop new and exciting innovations around health. The third area, energy research, including nuclear engineering. This is a sector I myself work in as well. And clearly we have some great Sellafield experiences up in Cumbria, but right through to the significant investment that we've got also on renewables with our offshore tidal activity going on in Liverpool as well, and off the Morecambe coast. And the final area, high performance commuting, big digital, data and manufacturing. Again, we have some great facilities here across all of our areas, from Lancaster, Cumbria, Manchester, Liverpool, and those things like Jodrell Bank, where we have the radio telescope array, through to the Baltic Centre in Liverpool, where we're employing around 10,000 people now. Means we are on the map. Look at Media City, where actually the highest development of content for digital media is done here outside of London. So that's a great achievement for the region, and I think things that we should be very proud of together here in this room. So the prospectus itself was about really pulling out the value. What is it that we're trying to get people to understand who don't live here? Why do they want to come here in the first place? So we were trying to create this kind of overarching value proposition. We've talked about each of those in isolation, but actually there are some amazing things that have been happened by joining those things up. And really getting at the key decision makers is our aim in corporations, thinking about, if I join up the R&D with the delivery through to, actually getting this commercialized, can the Northwest do that in its own right? You know, are we able to? And we've got some great examples where I think this prospectus hopefully tries to bring that out for you. So how did we go about it? Well, we did some qualitative assessment and we also did some quantitative assessment. In terms of qualitative, we interviewed around 50 or so stakeholders, people from academia, people from local authority, people from business, small and large, people from the local enterprise partnerships, and we tried to really pull out what was the real essence that people were saying. We also talked to organizations that have left the region and really tried to understand why did they choose to leave here and what would have made them stay at that time. So all of that you'll find incorporated, I hope, in the document that you see in front of you. So those are the organizations that we engaged with, and then from a quantitative perspective, we did some benchmarking. So we didn't just look at the UK and say, well, where in the UK should we be comparing ourselves? We also looked overseas to places that were known to be also specialists for attracting science and technology innovation here into their own countries. We looked at Berlin, we looked at Cambridge, we looked at Chalon, and we looked at Eindhoven, all of whom also, you know, market themselves as being expert areas to invest in. So we had to really understand what differentiated us here in the region so that we could stand out when people are making those decisions. And we really came up with 5 unique areas that we felt were compelling strengths for the region. And we evidenced those, you know, both through the interviews and the quotes that we got, but also through some of the data. So let's call out each of those. The first one, which is really the point that David made, you know, going from discovery to delivery, you know, ensuring that we got companies here who would first of all conceptualize, and then they would engage to actually prototype, then build, and then commercialize. So we've got good examples of those. Unilever, for example, is a really great example where 10 new products have been, first of all, you know, conceptualized here in the region, then built, and now are commercially out there in the marketplace. What did that do for Unilever? Actually, it cut their R&D time to commercial by a factor of 10. I mean, that's a very significant cost saving for the organization to get them out there in the marketplace faster. And secondly, they doubled the number of patents they were able to get out in the same time frame. So not only are these just good facts and great ideas around science and technology, but also from a commercial value point of view, they offer some significant benefit to the organizations that choose to join us here. So that's the first one. Second one, an internationally recognized research hub. I think Susan has covered that clearly. We have 80% of the research activity judged to be world leading or internationally excellent, which really puts us already at the cutting edge of tomorrow and fully recognized. I think we have 34 Nobel Prize winners coming out of the Northwest region alone. So that is an incredible track record that we can back up with evidence when organizations approach us to perhaps think about moving here to the Northwest. We also have a thriving innovation ecosystem. So we have lots of, you know, startup, small to medium enterprise organizations who are here already and who are teaming up with corporations, teaming up with universities to be able to really drive out you know, future growth and opportunity that we can, you know, sell on anywhere else in the region. And I talked a bit about this on high quality lifestyle. I don't know about you, but I love living here, and it's enthusiastic passion that gets people to want to come here. And if we ourselves in the room are part of this vehicle for communicating this out, I'm sure we all feel that. So that's the way I think to get people to want to be here as well. Actually, our primary schools are rated the 3rd best in the UK by Ofsted. Did anybody know that? Good. But that's something we should shout about. All you hear about are the schools that are, you know, in deprivation. Actually, we have some great examples of superb organisations here in the region. And for the last 3 years running, we also have been identified, or Manchester in particular has been identified as the best city to live in the Northwest. I'm sure Robert will contest that in a minute about Liverpool. But the Economist Livability Survey, that's where we need to get the votes in there. And digital and physical gateway to the world. We have around 100 trains a day to the Northwest that are under 2 hours from London. So a great infrastructure, and also we have an airport that is the first outside of London for direct flights to China, and that's the new route from Manchester Airport to Hong Kong. So already we have the infrastructure being created. We'll have the superport appearing in Liverpool, which I'm sure Robert will talk about as well, you know, which gives us lots of options for routes in to the organisation, or into the region. We also created this infographic, so you'll see that in the prospectus. You know, I don't know about you, but certainly we do lots of, you know, proposals and quotes for organisations, and the thing that grabs people's attention is actually a graphic that they can just latch onto. And a number of those facts I've talked to you about as we've gone through the presentation, but when you see it there, you know, on a page, as you see here, it just grabs you, doesn't it? And you can really latch on to things that are important to you, and therefore you want to delve more into. So what next? Well, Susan said it herself, we have to get this out there. So the reason for inviting all of you here, also to say thank you, because you are the reason that we are this great in the Northwest, but also to engage you with your own networks, your own supply chain, you know, your own friends of research who can really start getting this prospectus out and demonstrating why, from end to end, we would be a great place to come and invest, and that will benefit all of us. Our growth is significant in the Northwest, but not yet enough. I think when you look at the new government and their proposition around devolved powers to cities, you know, clearly we've got our pilot here in the region. We hope to have more of those, and we know that a certain political member of the cabinet is behind us here, and I won't steal Jürgen's thunder, but you know, we know that the government is behind us in moving this forward. So with that, that's what we want you to do. Go out there, leverage your relationships, use this prospectus. It will be available on the NWBLT SharePoint to download. It probably is already, is it, Jeffrey? Already is. So that's the job of all of us in the room moving from here. So with that, you'll take the time, I'm sure, to look at the prospectus, and I am now going to hand over to you.